we could work with IKEA or we could work with the most expensive supplier. Our goal is to just really check both the function and the beauty boxes for every project that we do.
I don't think anyone operates that way anymore. People just ghost people, Jesse. They just ghost people.
Right.
They don't even try to be like,
Sorry, why didn't you open up my Snap? Yeah. I don't even know how to do that. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Real-Tor Talk. Murray, how you doing today?
Good, Jesse. How are you?
Well, you know what? A lot of people should know that we don't tape this live sometimes, and I'm still sporting the beard because when we taped this, it was minus 125 out today. So I was like, I'm not shaving because I need to cover the skin.
Yeah.
So when
I just go for that all year long.
Oh, well, yeah, that's all right. So I hope when everybody's watching this that they survived and they're doing okay.
I'm sure they did. It's only a couple days of cold, so hopefully we're good.
Man, weren't you saying you were taking my family and me to Mexico for Christmas?
Yeah, no, I'm going to Mexico. I'm not taking you.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to hop in a suitcase, if you fit.
This is my former friend, Murray from Royal LePage Prime. No, great show that we've got as always. And thanks everybody for joining us again. I always love to say thank you for the likes, the shares, the questions, the comments. And again, moving forward, if you guys ever have any topics that you guys want to know about, because again, Real-Tor Talk, we want to be a reliable source for home ownership and everything that's involved. There's always a lot of things that come, whether you're buying, selling, financing, inspections, all this stuff. So I appreciate people sending me comments and stuff like that, good and bad.
Yeah, for sure. We need to know how to make this the show for you, because that's really what
we're here for. Yeah, absolutely. Sure. What's going on today?
So today we got a great guest. We got Kelsey from Dollhouse Design here. So she's going to give us a little bit of rundown of, why a homeowner should use a designer and all that. I've worked with Kelsey. I think I'm probably going on like 15 years knowing her, but I've worked with her a lot of projects, and we're actually just through my reno company. They just finished up a project with her, and it's great. She's been a really good designer to work with, and she's friendly with the clients and everything. So exactly what you'd want when you're picking a designer.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes I deal with clients that they can't look past, like myself, one little sample of paint, or if they look into a room that it looks like it's stuck in 1965.
Yep. How
do they bring it up? So
renovations, as I call it, divorce dust happens during renovations. People have a lot of arguments. Having a designer is a huge help for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Really excited about that. But like we maybe should talk about the big elephant in the room, country. Just recently, for the 7th time in 2022, the banks, they hiked up those interest rates again. And a lot of people, I know, they say to us realtors, what's going on? Again, we are slowly going towards a balanced market. The banks are actually, whether you agree with me or not, I say the banks are here to help you guys out. They don't want, and we always see in real estate, it's kind of like a 7 to 10 year people like to move. We don't want to hear from you guys after year 3 or 4 that it's like, I can't afford my home and I have to move because I can't afford it. So the banks are here to help. But yes, they raise things again. How is it going to affect you guys? We're not the experts, so we're just going to provide a little bit. If you guys ever have any questions, we'll get you in touch with the right people. It just means the big thing is inflation. Yeah, and I talked to a banker this morning, is inflation. And if inflation continues to keep rising before the spring, we're not going to see the good news that the banks talked about, at least what I heard today. There should be good news on the horizon if inflation can come down. That's the big key. And we don't know going into 2023, right?
Well, and I mean, in their meeting today, they said they're going to consider what's next. So they didn't tell us that in January, because there is another meeting in January that we're going to get a raise. They just said we got to consider what's next. And some are predicting that this is the interest rate we will see as a ceiling for 2023. Now, no crystal ball, can't tell you that 100%, but this is the information we're hearing today. So we got to do that. And, this interest rate increase really affects your variable mortgage. Mm-hmm. Not as much, it doesn't have that impact on the fixed rate, but it's a variable mortgage. But it will impact what happens with the stress test. So if you're getting a stress test, it is going to impact that a bit. So it does lessen buying power a little bit, but that's not the end of the world for anyone. I mean, the right move is to buy a place that you can afford.
Yeah, and really doing your research and sitting down with the right person and getting that information, because as you talked about fixed and variable, it's different for everybody. Like when someone comes to me with a generic question, again, I always refer and say, you've got to talk to your financial expert, because I don't know your fine print at home. I don't know what exactly has been going on in your history. So you got to sit down and see what's the best for you.
And
so
if you need someone to talk to, we have a ton of contacts in that world. We can definitely hook you up with the right people to have those conversations, whether it's a broker or it's someone through one of the big banks or even a credit union. We can hook you up with those people. So if you're interested and you want to have a discussion with someone, you don't know someone, reach out to one of us and we'll send you in the right direction for that.
Absolutely. So that's important. We're going to see what's going to happen, what they do in January there, or sorry, the end of December and moving forward. We like to help people out with financial. We like to help people out support local. Quickly, this is a bit of a local. Murray brought some gingerbread. This is Starbucks, but
I was trying hard.
But you know what? A local touch on that is people might have kids or relatives that work at Starbucks.
Well, hey, they employ people in Manitoba, right? So we're not highlighting a food item today, and I felt we needed to eat on the show just because it's whatever. So I guess the items we are highlighting mic-related food because they come from an animal. Anyways, today we wanted to highlight JAB Leatherworks. So this is a buddy of mine that makes wallets. He does all kinds of things. You can do coasters, keychains. He can do cases for, your iPad, stuff like that. All kinds of things. This is his side business that he does right now. And hopefully one day it becomes his full-time business, but he's really enjoying it. And these wallets are great. They're stitched. If you can see that and everything, he can put different logos on them. He just has to make the die for them. This one's got a Canadian flag on it as a coaster, all kinds of stuff like that. So he can make all kinds of things. He can even do custom orders. So it's something worth checking out. If you're looking for that last minute Christmas gift, he might be able to help you out with getting a wallet for something.
People don't do last minute shopping, do they? Oh boy. Next week when this airs, you know where I'll be. I won't be in this chair. I'll be at the malls. Plan.
If you're looking for him, you can reach him at j.b or j.a.b_leatherworks on Instagram and Facebook. And he's a great guy to work with, and he's quick, and he'll help you guys a lot. So has a spotlight for local. If you can support someone local, please do. We appreciate that all the time.
Yeah, we'll put his information in the description box, right? Yeah. So that's what we always like to do here on Real-Tor Talk. Just in case if you don't catch it, we don't expect, pen and paper and stuff like that. Stuff's always in the description line. You can always reach out to us after. So I thought I was going to catch you. Yeah, I thought you were going to take a bite there, but then you got the mouse. So you got to welcome in our guest, because I'm really excited about this, because even as a realtor, people always ask my advice. And I always say, maybe we should FaceTime my wife, because I love what she does at our house when she's designing. But I bet you Kelsey is going to help us even more today. Welcome in, Kelsey. Is she there?
We're working. Hey, there we go.
There she
Kelsey
is.
Hi, guys.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Very good. Very good.
Very good.
We're eating gingerbread loaf from Starbucks and drinking coffees.
Yeah, rough afternoon.
Very, very, very festive. And can we start with that a little bit? To put you on the spot here, what is maybe the top 2 things kind of holiday that you see that's really popular in the house right now?
I would say white Christmas decor seems to be everywhere, like white Christmas trees, white, kind of like that frosty look seems to be everywhere. And just really, really simple decorations, white lights, clear glass, just really pretty and simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's trying to find that balance of like having the, family decorated Christmas tree with all the kids, macaroni decorations. It's like we need 2 trees, one upstairs, one downstairs.
Yeah. How many trees does Mariana?
I have 6 trees.
Okay.
What? How big's your house?
So, well, it's a decent size, but I have 6 trees in my house. And so we have one in our kitchen eating area. We have one in our front room, which is kind of like a little bar parlor area. We have one in the living room, one upstairs. Each one of my daughters have a 6-foot Christmas tree in their house.
Of course.
And to boot, we have one in the basement that's not even set up that my daughter is actually going to use at her school dance for Christmas, because we haven't set it up. So,
okay.
So we have the tree for the special ornaments. We have the tree for the fancy stuff. Our one in our kitchen's like a Pine Ridge Hollow tree, where it's very like kind of country looking. Very themed trees in the house. But anyways.
Got its own Instagram page, I think, right?
Not yet. I should have started that.
Murray's Trees, right?
Should have started that. Anyways, we're a very big Christmas house. Lots of people like Halloween and stuff. We're like Christmas to the hills.
Yeah, I very much like Christmas way better than Halloween.
That's completely off topic of where we're heading here. But anyway,
I want to see more of your trees here.
Yeah, me too. Let me know what this Instagram feed is.
Pictures later. So Kelsey, you know what? I've dealt with you for a lot of years, but a lot of people may not know who you are. So why don't you give us kind of a little background on you and your company, and we'll go with some more questions after that.
Sure. I'm Kelsey Kosman. I own Dollhouse Design. We've been operating for 9 years, I guess. I've been in the industry for 15 or so. We've recently just expanded. There's a new designer working with us. So we do interior design, kind of concept to completion, and help clients with new builds, renovations, conceptual design drawings, like for something as small as like a feature wall in your house to as large as like an entire new build.
And that's, I like when you said feature wall, because that's something that I've done in the last 2 houses that I lived on, that just one wall can make a massive difference in a room. And people, it's not overthinking, whether it's just a simple color of paint or maybe some, barn wood or something like that. A feature wall can overchange things. So people don't feel like they have to redesign their entire house or their entire main floor. Start with one wall.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think now because of social media and, reality TV shows and stuff, interior design and the principle behind it is more mainstream. And so there's just, where it used to be something that people thought was, not obtainable for them, people see the value in what I do. And so we have, people from all walks of life that call us to help them develop something that's, functional and beautiful with every budget. So we could work with IKEA, or we could work with the most expensive supplier. Our goal is to just really check both the function and the beauty boxes for every project that we do.
Yeah, and I find, depending on the cost of your project, having a designer involved saves you a lot of headaches with your spouse or whatever. And, it gives you the visual, right? You'll be able to provide the people with the drawings and stuff they want to see.
Yeah, well, and I think too, like I often feel like I am a mediator, just because I'm not necessarily shy to say like, on this one, I'm on his side, on this one, I'm on her side for whatever reason, right? I think it also just eliminates the second guessing that can sometimes go along with renovations or builds, right? The idea of working with somebody like me is to try and eliminate as many of those, I should have moments, right? You're putting the legwork in before any tools are being, used, so that you can avoid those regrets later on.
Side note with that, how has technology changed for you in the years that maybe even before you started to where we are now? I know just for landscaping, I was able to get a computer rendering of what my yard could look like,
right.
20, 30 years ago. There's no way I could even envision what somebody was telling me face to face. I just have a hard time. But for you, has that really helped your business now?
Yeah, well, and I think it's helped clients too, right? Because I may have a fairly easy time visualizing what something may look like, but a client or, other people, that's not their strong suit. So we work with people that we have the ability to do 3D renderings, interior, exterior. We can do walkthroughs, kind of like what you would see on the HGTV shows or whatever. And that really helps, solidify some decision making if people are on the fence or maybe a little apprehensive. That certainly has changed, because vision boards and concept boards used to be literally like cutting pieces of the actual materials and like gluing them like it was actual physical samples, right? And now the way that we deliver our concept boards are all digitally. It's on a program called Concept Board, and it isn't a 3D walkthrough of the space, but it is a collection of the image, like of the materials and the colors that we're hoping to use. And it helps convey the overall theme and vibe that we're hoping the end result will produce. So yeah, I think it's made things easier for people to visualize, for sure.
I think it's great because you said there are a lot of people, and even after 7 years of real estate, I have a problem sometimes visioning. At my home, 20 years of marriage, I have a program called I Trust You, Dear. So whatever my wife says, I don't challenge. She doesn't try to fill my head with too much. It's just saying, I trust you, dear. And then
And then it works out.
I can't see it.
I've lived in this world, so I
Right?
can see, I can think, like when Kelsey's talking to clients about stuff, if I've been in those meetings with her, I can actually picture my
You
head
can
what
see
she's
it.
doing,
You
but
don't
I
struggle
lived
like
and
me?
breathed that world for so long that it was
Okay.
just, you know, and some people don't envision things that way, right? I think in pictures all the time. When
That's
someone's
okay.
talking to me, I'm thinking in pictures.
You
Like
can
a little
talk down
kid
to me.
drawing with
Did
my
you just
crayon.
call me a little kid because I can't with little crayons?
No, I'm saying I'm picturing like little crayons,
Okay,
right?
all right.
You see the drawings.
You know,
people, like, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I had a repeat client, so this is the third project that I've worked with for them. I met with them yesterday, and it was, so I saw their living room renovation project. So we did like a fireplace feature wall, we did a TV, like built-in cabinets, bookshelf, that sort of idea. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love the stone. So they have a wood burning stove with the stone all the way up to the ceiling in their, vaulted ceiling living room space. And it looks beautiful. And she goes, I have to tell you, like, I was very, very nervous and I wasn't sure about the stone. And it was a big investment in terms of like money, but then also visually, like it was a large area. And she's like, I just had to trust it, where I feel like for somebody like her, where she was really like nervous, that 3D rendering would have, helped for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So Kelsey, just give us a quick rundown of the client process. So when someone calls you, what happens?
So our process is we would meet for the initial consultation. So that's like a meet and greet, kind of a brainstorming session. We'll talk about what it is you're after, in terms of like what would be on your wish list, what would be on your must-have list. If you have any inspiration photos, they're usually shared at that time. We would gather all the necessary information. So measurements, all of the information that would be relative to the project itself. After that, we're able to start working on the project. So generally speaking, it's sending the first round of preliminary drawings. So I always tell people this is not intended to be the final version. It's just intended to get the conversation going. Based on the conversation that we had after, I gathered that information of what they're hoping for. So if it's a kitchen, kitchen renovation or whatever renovation, I have, a checklist and notes made from that meeting. And then that first round of preliminary, I try and incorporate as many of those elements as possible, while keeping, design standards in mind while I'm developing that. And then it's a process. We go back and forth. We can meet via Zoom, in person. I encourage people to print out the preliminaries and mark it up and send back their feedback. My feelings don't get hurt. It's part of the process. My clients need to love their home. It's not my house, so you need to love it. And, I encourage honesty. Sometimes people are a little bit nervous that they're going to hurt my feelings, but that's not the case. After we go back and forth, we usually land on the final version of the floor plan. And then we're able to start with the 2D elevations. So that is, if you were standing in front of the wall, what does that wall look like? So, that's important, say for a kitchen elevation or for a kitchen renovation rather, because those design drawings give, it's basically a roadmap for the suppliers. So, where are the drawers, where are the pullouts, like all of those special accessories, where's the garbage pullout, all of those details are laid out in the drawings. So your contractor, the supplier, everybody knows what's going on. The electrician would know where things are. So, rough-ins can happen then, or based on those drawings rather. And then generally speaking, more times than not, we do the lighting layout as well, because if we have the floor plan done and it's all drawn to scale, it's just a really convenient document to hand over to the electrician to say, hey, this is what I'm thinking in terms of like pot lights,
makes it a lot easier. People forget
makes it a
about
lot easier.
this is such a huge part of it. And if they do it wrong, it's very disappointing when they're done. And
yeah, exactly. And there's nothing worse than an electrician like asking you without you having put any thought into it, like where are you wanting the pot lights, how many pot lights, where do you want these pendant lights, and you're standing there going, at least, if it's a basement renovation, for example, we're considering like we don't want to light right over the TV. We don't want any dark corners or shadows or that sort of thing. And then so after the floor plan is done and the elevations are done and the lighting plan is done, then we can move on to the material selection. So like I had mentioned earlier, we work with concept board. And so after, you know, those inspiration photos have been sent and we've talked about kind of the direction that you're wanting to go, we're able to compile all of those materials and colors, send them over to you. Once the client gives us the A-OK that, yeah, that's the vibe that we're after, then we're able to source actual samples. So we create a spec sheet, we give it to the contractor or the client, and it lists everything. So it takes the guesswork out of all of it. The contractor would be able to literally build the project after, you know, our drawings are done and our material spec sheet is done.
Yeah. So when you're doing the design with the clients, it's more of a group decision, right? You're keeping them on track to where they should be, because some people might have some ideas that are just don't flow or something like that.
Yeah, like, I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, it is the client's decision, right? It's their home, it's their money, all of the rest. But usually speaking, or generally speaking, when I'm involved, clients are open to hearing suggestions, right? They're open to hearing, you know, I've been doing this for quite some time and, you know, I have a lot of experience. And so, you know, I get feedback from past projects of what have worked and maybe, you know, what clients would have done differently. So yeah, totally a collaboration. You know, I kind of, I tell clients that, like, I'm just here to be like a fresh set of eyes, you know, on this project and yeah, exactly. Just collaborate.
With them. Yeah.
Now, I know I've worked, sorry, Marie.
No,
I know working for us as realtors, when we're working with clients that are either doing a custom home build, or they do ask us questions about, you know, maybe increasing the value of their home. I want to do a rental project and stuff like that. I know in the past, I've kind of geared them towards either different sites or Pinterest or anything like that. So then when they come to the table and they sit down with that custom home builder, they have an idea. So what do you, when people are watching right now, okay, and they're thinking, okay, this winter, this is what I'm going to start thinking about. I want to either, maybe I am doing a custom home build, maybe I am doing a reno and I'm going to contact you for this. Are there certain sites that you really like? Again, technology is fantastic nowadays, you know, is putting together, I had a client one time, they had a binder this big of ideas that they had compiled over the years. So then when they come and see you for that very first time, that's going to help you, no? Right. So is there certain sites or different tips that you could have people prepare in the meantime?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of House. That seems to be HOUZZ. That's a great resource for people just because it's all home related images. So you could literally type in modern kitchen and then boom, modern kitchen pops up or whatever. And, you know, you can create boards and same thing with Pinterest. You know, Pinterest is a great resource too. And you can create, you know, collect boards, I think they call them, on both sites, where you can share them with whoever. So, you know, my clients will share them with me. And I just, you know, tell clients to not stress so much on trying to find a space that looks exactly like your house with all of the elements that you love, right? Because chances are you won't find it. So, you know, scroll through the images and maybe you love that light, or maybe you love that countertop, or maybe, you know, and then it's just a starting point for us to build on. So yeah, those images are really helpful. And most people would have at least one or two images where then we start and then we build off of that. And then of course it becomes like a unique space to what we find and, you know, the client's personal preference. And sometimes budget too can dictate that, of course.
So where do you find people are generally wanting to get a design? I know you just talked about doing feature walls and stuff like that, but on the most, where are you finding people are hiring you in to do?
So I think people really see the value in working with a designer to renovate a kitchen and to renovate a bathroom. And I would say like the third most common project that we do is like lower level development. So like basement renovations. And for the most part, you know, people will often say like, you know, for resale, those, I mean, you guys would know, right? but people see the value in renovating a kitchen. Even if they're planning on staying there for 5 years, they get to enjoy it. But then when they sell in 5 years, you don't have a super dated kitchen, right? It's more functional, it's modern, all the rest. And that helps with resale. It'll show better. Same thing with basements. You know, you have like this huge, when walls are all taken down, basements are great, you know, additional living space for families, especially, but there's a difference between a well-planned out basement and something that is lacking in function. So even if people are going to do a basement renovation themselves and frame it all themselves, finish it themselves, the drawings are really handy, even for people that want to do it themselves.
Do you have a favorite one over the other? Like if you got to pick your favorite one to kind of work with, or your favorite space?
You know what? I really love, my favorite aspect of my job and what I do is the spatial planning. So, I mean, obviously if space isn't like a concern, like if it's a new build, like I love coming up with custom floor plans, you know, where people will come up to me with like 5 or 10 different floor plans and say, okay, I want a combination of all of these. And then it's almost like a puzzle and I'm trying to, you know, fit. I love that. I think that's really fun and challenging. I think every aspect of every project has its own, I don't know, perks or what. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'd love to have you back another time. We're going to run out of time here. But we'd love to have you back another time, talk about some other stuff if you're okay with that.
Sure. Yeah.
Gosh, she's already earned another, right? That's awesome.
How do people find you in the interim?
Okay. So my website is dollhousedesign.ca. Instagram is at Dollhouse Design WPG. And all my contact information is there, email address, phone number.
Awesome.
And aside from just because the winter time,
yeah,
we're stuck inside.
Yes.
Maybe not as much as we were the last couple of years, but we are stuck inside. We're looking around our houses. We're looking at different areas and stuff like that. So if people, again, aside from going to different sites and stuff like that, what are some other tips just before you go? Are we talking about, you know, budgets or other, you know, maybe start off in this area, or just, you know, because again, at wintertime, this is the time that we talk to a lot of clients that they're starting to think about the spring market, or they're starting to think about stuff just because, again, we're stuck at home or we're talking with family and friends during the holidays. Is there some other things that you would give advice to people if they want to venture down that road and contact you?
Yeah, like, I mean, I think just starting to put some thought into, even like have like just a running list, like a notebook where, you know, you're keeping like your collection of ideas of things that you want to incorporate, things that are important to you. Is it more storage? Is it more lighting? Like things that are maybe that are missing, or things that you are wanting. And then that helps just clarify, I guess, the direction that we would go once we do meet.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff, because sometimes I know, I don't know, Marie, correct? Well, I've heard this enough, but I'm sure you have as well, is sometimes when people invite me into a house and they say, listen, we're not moving, but we want to ask your advice because we're not moving like in 2 years, but we're probably going to move in 10 years. Which room should we start with? Or which room, if we have $20,000 that, you know, we just got, what is going to increase the value of our home? Because sometimes when people, and I would say, just invite me over, right? Because then we can actually sit down and look at it. What would be a better investment? Because sometimes people, they don't know where to go.
Still, I'm still push people, and Kelsey probably agree with this. I'm still going to push people towards kitchen and bathrooms. They're still the drive.
100%. Yeah, totally. But I mean, obviously, and you guys, you know, you'd be able to appreciate this, but the advice that I'm giving to somebody that is saying, I'm going to be moving in 2 years versus this is my forever house, these are totally different renovations, right? Because in 2 years, if you're leaving, you know, maybe we're not getting the highest end quartz or granite or whatever, right? So like, those are questions that I would ask too before the renovation. You know, somebody that it's just like maybe a couple, empty nester, versus somebody that has 4 kids, that's a different renovation. In terms of even just material that we're choosing, right? If you've got kids slamming cabinets every day, that's different than just, you know, a couple in their 50s or 60s or beyond. So yeah, we do like a little bit of, I don't want to say investigating, but like conversations to just make sure that the every decision is considered.
No, absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Kelsey.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
As long as you know this was good for you, and
We will. He already told you. You can hold it.
Bob said, as long as you want to come back, you're welcome to come back.
Yeah, that's great.
We'll, you don't have to answer that. You can send me a text later and say, no, Murray, I'm done. Don't ever come.
Because you didn't share your garlic or your your gingerbread with us. I'm not coming. I always feel bad because we always eat in front of the guests. So maybe next time we'll send something to you.
Okay, and then we can all eat.
Yeah,
it's like a virtual picnic.
Let's still drive it to Niverville for you. And
Okay.
Hey, is that where you are in Niverville?
Yes, it's the place to be.
Fantastic. You know what? I love working with people in Niverville just this year, and I'm sure you heard of it, and just on a real estate part of it, that is the fastest growing community in Manitoba, and between 18 and 35-year-olds. It's fantastic. I love the community. I love what they did now with their new arena and their hockey team and how the community came together.
Yes.
I love Niverville.
there you go.
It's a great place.
No, I'm not. Whew, man. No.
Kelsey, have yourself a great holiday season and a safe new year, and we will definitely be in touch.
Thanks, guys. You too.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
See you. Thanks.
All right. I think next time you clicked around. I really want to know because I watch a lot of podcasts. I like when guests, I want to see if
Just
they
shut
click,
down?
if they shut us down, if they wave. Maybe it's back like when you were like a teenager and you had a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Like, no, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. Remember that? You remember like,
I do.
and be like, are you still there? Are you still there? And then you fall asleep and then wake up the next day. No, you don't remember that?
I do, but I don't think anyone operates that way anymore. People just ghost people, Jesse. They just ghost
That's
people.
right.
They don't
That's
even
right.
try to be like, you know.
Sorry, why didn't you open up my Snap?
Yeah.
I don't even know how to do that.
Jesse secretly has a bunch of Snap stuff going on.
We have
So,
to get like one of our kids on here to show us like tech stuff or whatever.
There you go. We'll have one of the kids on to do a tech episode first
Yeah.
to educate us because we're old and we don't know these things.
Some
It'll
TTYL
be good.
something or whatever emoji something, right?
As long as you use the appropriate emojis, we're good.
I said to my kids one time, "What did you just say to me?" And it was like it was a totally different meaning, and I had to explain to them what the breakdown used to mean, like that.
Yeah, well, we are getting old, Jesse. So you know,
So it's
yeah.
that was fantastic because again, I know during this time of year or how the Parade of Homes just happened. I've worked
Yeah.
in some Parade of Homes where people have come in and they're not looking to buy a home.
They're looking for design ideas.
They're looking for design ideas.
Yep.
And that's fine. And I actually encourage people. That's what the Parade of Homes is.
Well,
like
and
not
every
to put
house,
down the builders.
every one of those show homes has had a designer deal with it, right?
Yeah,
so it's
absolutely.
been designed by someone, not just the builder being like, I think we should do this.
Yeah.
They've got a designer that's involved.
And I
they
think
help
the
them.
more and more resources that we have out there, even better. I mean, obviously, like just tie up Kelsey's voicemail because I mean that's who you should be going with, right?
No,
Everybody.
She's fantastic. I've personally dealt with her with a lot of renos, and she's great with the clients and great to work with. If I ever had questions or something didn't quite jive, it was easy to get dealt with, and she's available. So right across the board, whether you're a contractor, the homeowner, whatever, she is there to help you and make this thing as smooth as possible, and she does a fantastic job at it.
Will she meet you at the Chicken Chef in Niverville?
I'm
there a
sure-
chicken chip?
I don't know. I've been to Niverville like a handful of times. I used to call him William Dickinson's in Niverville.
Niverville's good.
Life. So, yeah, but that was like 15 years ago. So
Oh,
a long time
you know
ago.
they have a
So-
traffic. They got lights at that
Well, I know,
intersection.
I was there a couple weekends ago
Oh,
for
okay.
a volleyball tournament and,
You were
for
there
my
like
daughter.
20 years
So
ago.
no, but I haven't really spent any time. I literally drove in, went to the school with the
Yeah.
volleyball court, and then we were gone. Right.
Yeah.
So, but it was a great community back in the day. We've done some renos out there for clients and stuff like that. So it's good. But
Yeah.
I'm-
Not putting down any other communities.
I'm sure she'll. No, you're. And I'm sure Kelsey will meet you wherever you are. You want to go to a Chicken Chef and buy her lunch, knock yourself out. It's your deal. So,
Now I know where I'm going for lunch.
but again, it's another
Yes. Yep.
local kind of person you can support. you know, and most of the designers you're going to find out there will be local. So, but Kelsey's a really good one, and there's lots to choose from. But much like anything, much like you'd handle a realtor or anything, interview a couple and make sure they fit you, because you want to make sure that person works well with you, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with them.
Yeah, there is a reason that there is a lot of lawyers, a lot of realtors, a lot of designers. The key is to sit down with them, interview them. I mean, once you interview us, there's no reason to interview another realtor. You're done with that. But when you're investing a lot of money, a lot of time, and I mean, I have moved over 16 times in my life, and in a lot of those moves, there's been a lot of renos and designing and stuff like that. It's emotional, and you've been tied to that. 100%. Has anyone cried in front of you?
At the end, I've had clients cry. I've had, like, you become, when you're renovating, you become like part of their family. You spend so much time with them. Like, you know their kids' names, you know their pets' names. Like, I had a client that their cat, they're like, this cat's really mean. It was in my face, like just sniffing me, and they're like, this is weird. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever, right? Like, so you just become part of their family and that stuff. So people get emotional, you get a lot of hugs, you get a lot of stuff. But every reno kind of goes the same. At the beginning, everyone's excited. Halfway through, everyone's like, what are you getting out of my house? And at the end, everyone's all excited and happy.
Oh, again. Murray's coming over again.
Well, it really becomes that, right? But honestly, I've got clients that at Christmas time still, I haven't renovated their house in like 8 years, and I still come into contact with them from the rental company at Christmas time, and you know, drop off a bottle or whatever for them.
Garlic bread, gingerbread.
They became garlic gingerbread. They became like family. So you know, and they treat you that way, and it's fantastic. So it's much like your realtor. You should try and, you know, have that similar kind of concept with us, except not wanting us to get out of your house ever. But anyways, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, these are relationships that you're building for life. You're not building them for, you know, hey, I just want to sell you something, get out. No, I want to be your realtor for life, or I want to be your renovator for life. And it's building those relationships and making sure those people trust you and that they believe in what you're going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. That was fantastic, guys.
Yeah.
Great job.
Kelsey was great.
Good job. Okay, everyone, we are going to take a little bit of a break for the holiday season.
Yes.
Real-Tor Talk will be back in 2023. But stay tuned because before Christmas, Murray and I, are we going to do one in front of one of your 20 trees? Or?
We could do, we could do it at my house and one of the trees.
Might do it at Murray's house. But
we can showcase all the trees at the same time. It'll be good.
People are going to be looking for that Instagram page. But we've got a little surprise for people out there. So stay tuned to our channel. Again, thanks for all the likes and shares and the comments and stuff like that. And we'll see you guys soon.
Yes, thank you guys very much. Have a great time, and we'll give you a holiday wish next week. Okay.